Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to the Adventure Travel Club television show. Betty, you know this must be Oberammergau, right?
Yes, you know it is. That's
Oh,
where we
yeah.
left off, and it's just fun to come back again and visit, right?
I think it really is. You know, I never tire of this village. We've been there several times. And just to walk by and look at all of the carvings, the wood carvings that we see in all of these shops, is to me, is amazing. But it makes you want to be, you know, hey, well, how come I wasn't born rich so I could buy all of this stuff?
Well, I want to tell you something. You just talk about it being amazing. The amazing thing is, I did not spend a dime.
You didn't?
I did not buy one single, not even a postcard. So
Boy, you really went on the cheap, didn't you, huh?
Well, that's my reputation. I don't really spend much money. I like to look.
You mean you this year you didn't go into the Christmas shop and do any buying?
No, because you know, I live alone, and I don't really do a lot of decorating at Christmas time. I go to my daughter's, and so Christmas
Well, I'm going to have to admit also, I didn't have time this time. We were doing so much, and it was just so much to see and do. And of course, we were there for the Passion Play, naturally. That was the big opportunity to be there. But I've spent a lot of time out wandering around trying to get some pictures. Actually, some of these were shot. Would you believe that's 8 o'clock at night?
Well,
that was after dinner. Look how light it was.
Sure. Well, although it rained while we were there, not a whole lot, but it did rain. But the weather was, I thought, was just very, very good for us.
Yes, it was. And I mean, it just amazes me to see how this is painted. You know, sometimes you think, well, now there's a little porch thing over there. No, it's all painted on the building, yeah.
Yeah. It's the
wonderful
depth that the artist has been able to do to look at, make it three-dimensional. And we noticed that a lot in some of the churches and palaces that we went into, that and in the Sistine Chapel too. They look like they're spread out, and they're
done
really
so
not at all.
three-dimensional, right? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, now here we are, what we were talking about just a moment ago. This is the Christmas shop, and this Christmas shop, I think, is absolutely, well, I'm going to use the word
complete.
again, incredible. Yeah, it is complete, that's for sure. And of course, the things are there all year round.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've seen other ones, well, nationally we all have, of course, you know, here in the United States and all over the place. But this was so nice because a lot of this was carved right there in Oberammergau, some of the little wooden figures that you see, and some of the, now this is what I like. See
you have one of those, don't you?
No,
I
know, yeah, and
I thought
I
you
know.
had one.
I think Scandinavians use that a lot too, and
I thought you brought one back.
no, I don't have one of those.
Okay.
So you know,
next time
when
10
Christmas
years
comes up,
10 years from now, when we go back, you can get one then.
Right, yeah, and then they had
right.
had a little animated thing here in the window as well too, with some of the stuffed animals, which I thought was really rather clever. It was kind of cute. I really enjoyed this. Someone's got a very good imagination. I mean, the way that they staged this and then put the whole thing all together, it was wonderful.
The mechanical skill, you know, the electrical skill, all of that. But you pay the price for it.
Yeah, well, I think this was just a display for the, you know, I don't think that this one was really for sale, but I think that the stuffed animals were inside, some that you could buy there. And look at
that looks great,
aren't those
doesn't it?
beautiful?
Yeah.
Looks good enough to eat, but actually they're glass ornaments, so I don't think that you'd want to try that.
Hardly.
I was just shooting through the window here because I honestly, I didn't even get a chance to go inside the evening that I was shooting all this. But look at this now. Those are all wood carvings. Just beautiful. Absolutely amazing. I think Christmas shops are lots of fun anyway, you know, no matter where they are. But this one, it was just a little special to me.
Well, Christmas it appeals to everybody. It brings joy to your heart in most instances, the music, the whole connotation of Christmas and what it means, and children, happiness, food, mass.
Food.
Yeah.
Food. Food.
Yes, yes.
Look, Betty, right straight ahead now. You can see where the trees are not there. Well, that's at the edge of town, and you can walk right up there. That is where the ski lift is. So you can, you know, and Oberammergau has got a lot of wonderful things besides the Passion Play and all of the wonderful carvings that they have. They have a lot of recreational things there, both for winter and summertime. And a lot of people in this part of Europe come there for vacation or come for a weekend. And it's a great place to do it, believe me. Again, I think I said this on one of the other shows. Where's one of your favorite places? Right here in Oberammergau. That restaurant right there that we're looking at, Betty, that was the first restaurant. You and I went to several years ago, over 10 years ago, when we went for our first visit to Oberammergau, or my first visit anyway.
Elegant food.
Wonderful. And what I like so much about it is that some of the local people were there. This was not the tourist season that we had gone that particular time, but local people were sitting there, and they were playing cards and having a wonderful time. And again, the tourists weren't there except for us.
Well, and yes, when it's an off season, I know they still have people coming there, but not like the peak seasons when people are off for their summer vacations. This I was shooting out the window of the hotel where I was staying, and it just kept changing. The clouds and the mist came in, and it made a magical moment, as you can see. And right up on the top of the hill, right there, of course, you see that cross, and that you can do some hiking around here too. But that is a very large hill. Well, that's where I was when you were doing the pictures. I was up there.
Oh, you were up on the hill?
You didn't see me wave from the cross.
No, I didn't.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You missed that, Mark.
I missed that. Well, you should have let me know.
I was standing up there just waving away.
Oh, well, I would have.
We'll have to do it the next time.
Yeah, we'll do. Okay, make sure
that
you tell me. We'll take walkie-talkies next time, and you can tell me where you are.
Okay.
This is a shot of the beautiful, beautiful church, the village church, I should say, in Oberammergau. And again, I'm looking from it right from my hotel, which was just a few blocks away. And I think the inside of this church is so beautiful. But when I went to take a look at it and take pictures at it, it was dark. They had the lights turned off, so you really can't appreciate all of the ceilings and the walls that are painted so beautifully up there. But it gives you a little view here of what the church does look like.
But when we went to Mass there in the morning,
yeah, but they had the lights on then.
We just happened to meet, and there we were at Mass, and so it was very light and bright then. So you got a really good. But you didn't have your camera. We just went to pray.
Yeah, went to pray. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to go on. We're going to leave Oberammergau now. We're going to go down the road a little bit because we want to go to another one of Ludwig's castles. And this one, Betty, I think you like even better than the other ones that we saw. This is Linderhof, and it was constructed between 1870 and 1879, and the architect was a guy by the name of George Dolman. And I think he did a really great job on this. The gardens, especially here at Linderhof, are just, I can't say enough about it, but we're going to show you, we're going to take our time today and show you some of the gardens here. Again, you have to buy your tickets, and then we're waiting for our time, which was 9 o'clock in the morning, for us to go ahead and take our tour through there. But these are just some of the service buildings that you see. We're not at the castle just yet, but look at that architecture, just really wonderful.
Every place you look, there's something new to catch your eye.
Oh, it really is. Well, it's 9 o'clock, so we're going to then walk on up to the castle. And this, we didn't have to walk too terribly far on this one because you can drive fairly close up to it. And they've made this very, very convenient for tourists. I want to tell you,
excuse me, but look at this. Sauntering. That is not something we did all the time. That's sort of like, oh my gosh, are you so tired, you poor people? Did we really work you that hard?
I don't think so, because we just had breakfast and took the little bus and then went over here.
Well,
there's this. Excuse me. I was just going to mention this little chapel of St. Anne's, which is here. We still had a few minutes before we were scheduled to go into the castle. And the castle, I should state, looks more like a hunting lodge. And isn't that what Ludwig used it for, Betty? Was more of a hunting lodge than a castle?
Right. Mm-hmm.
But these gardens out here, there's also what they call the Blue Grotto, which is located up behind the castle. And these archways, what do you call it? Trellises, right? Yeah, this leads up to there. And when we first walked up there, we found out that it was closed. It wasn't open quite yet. So some of the folks came back a little bit later on and went up there to see it. But
I did.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Did you like it?
No. I was
really?
Frankly, no. I was
Wasn't that
really
great,
disappointed in it.
Good. I'm glad I didn't walk up there.
It's supposed to be taken from the Blue Grotto in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that I haven't been there, so I really don't have that basis of comparison. But to me, it was just Disneyland. I was not impressed.
Well, now there's some logic to what you're saying there too. Is that the castles, the two castles that he had built, or three of them, they were done by a stage designer. So that's probably why it had that appearance of sort of a staginess or theatrical look, I think, to
It didn't have that naturalness. Now, we've been to so many places that, especially when you go into the caves with the stalactites and stalagmites, you know, and that are real,
Yeah.
but look like they couldn't be real, but they looked authentic. But this looked to me like
It looked
somebody, it
phony,
was
huh?
contrived. Yeah, yeah.
Well, you have to
truly.
think it was built back in 1870.
Yeah, but don't forget that's my opinion, and what's my opinion?
Well, yeah, anyway, well, it's all right. Because what makes up for it is this beautiful statuary that we see in front of the castle. This is Linderhof here. And you look at it and say, well, wait a minute, that doesn't look very much like a castle to me. But that's what they consider it to be, a castle. I would say more of a hunting lodge. And unfortunately, they wouldn't let us take pictures inside. But there are some rooms in there that are decorated with antlers and
Yeah.
pretty much sportsy type of thing. So
Didn't I ask you once? Excuse me. What?
Yeah.
How do you differentiate between a palace and a castle? Did we ever arrive at any conclusion? You were going to look it up.
I was going to look it up. I think
Yeah.
it's how much you pay for it. I don't know. Depends on the real estate, I guess.
How
I'm not
big it
sure.
is, maybe the
Yeah.
size, huh?
Well,
okay.
I don't know. I don't
but
know.
this is
There were
so
some
beautiful.
Well, there were some small castles we saw in Ireland that were,
Yeah.
that were constructed so differently. Yeah, this is beautiful, and this gave us an opportunity on this particular trip to really wander around and see the gardens quite a bit. Now, we have to realize that this took up a lot of area, and they did use this for a hunting lodge. And the area all around it, of course, are woods, and beautiful woods. But Ludwig II had a hand in saying, okay, I want this and I want that. Naturally, he was paying the bill. But he had some pretty good taste, I think, when it came to the statuary and some of the construction. Look at that lion.
Yeah.
Isn't that magnificent
Doesn't
looking?
it remind you of the lion that we saw that was almost crying? You remember, with his little paws over his,
Back in Switzerland.
Yes,
Right. Yeah,
yes,
back in
yes.
Lucerne.
Uh-huh.
But this guy
This
looked a
is
little more
beautiful.
majestic, right?
Yeah, beautiful statuary. I wondered about the ones there in the fountain. It looked like they had been recently gilded. Do you think for the year 2000?
Well, that's a good thought. I'm not sure, because if you look here, you see some of the stain, I think, or whatever you would call that. That's going on to this cement or whatever it is. You could be right. It looks like too that on
See,
the
right in
right-hand
the
side
middle,
there.
right in the leaf.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure that they keep that.
Yeah.
That's the showpiece, And when they turn the water on, that's absolutely beautiful. It looks like they were also doing some copper work up on top of the roof as well. Well, now they've decided to turn on a couple of the fountains. We got there early enough they didn't have all the fountains going when we got there.
Yeah.
So, but he had fountains all over the place here. And again, the statuary. And we're only taking shots of some of it. But the gardeners were working there, and this place must have gardeners. I don't know how many gardeners they must have, but boy, that's a big job for them,
Is this privately owned, Marv? I don't know that.
That question has been asked a couple of times to me, and my answer on that is I don't think so. I believe that this is owned by the government, because you have to figure, Ludwig was the king of Bavaria, and I think that all of these properties that he had, belonged to, even though he paid for this stuff,
Yeah.
from what we read, out of his own
Yeah, but
pocket.
where
They said
did
he
that
didn't-
money come from?
Well, you got me. I don't know. I wasn't as I
I
wasn't
mean,
as accountant, but
no.
you see, I would suspect that this probably, it's got to be government owned. I mean, who could afford
keep
to
it
keep
up
up
now?
something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's so vast and so beautiful.
Is that considered a park now? Is it it's in a park-like setting, but I'm thinking like for tourists and things that, sure, it has to be the government, but it looks like it might be a park.
Well, that's a good question. So much of it is so well kept up and so beautiful. Like, look here, the gardeners there just mowing the lawns, or in this beautiful little garden, and that's only part of it. It stretches on across over here on the other side. The thing, again, Betty, that amazes me is that, you figure, okay, the people are living there inside the castle or the palace or whatever you want to call it, and yet here are these intricate gardens that are located so far away. I mean, it takes your breath away in a little bit of time to walk up to these places, So I think a lot of it was there just for aesthetic beauty. I'm not quite sure.
Isn't she lovely?
Isn't that
Yeah,
beautiful? And that's there's a little cupola, as you can see over that. And that's the farthest end of the area that we can see that's been developed. But And I have to also mention, too, when you said park, there are little streams and rivulets that are running down from that mountain, right there in front of us, that are coming down into these particular areas that we pass.
Well, you know what you do? You go into the kitchen and you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and then each day you go to a different place and have a little bit of a picnic.
Listen, if you own this, I don't think so. I think what you do is you tell the servants, I want to have my picnic at such and such.
Bring it.
Yeah, bring it to me, please. So I don't know, but this is a magnificent place, and of course I think this is visited probably as much as some of the other castles that he had. And I say had because he's long gone now. Betty, there was an interesting thing. His body is buried in Munich, and they took his heart out and put it in a urn. And his heart is not buried where the rest of his body is.
How heartless of them to do such a thing. I can't believe it. Of course, we do that. That's done often. With our saints and stuff, they take pieces of But he wasn't that great. I mean, his heart, was he? So,
well, I don't know.
Maybe because he gave so much
Could have been. I don't know. But anyway, I thought it was kind of interesting. There were a lot of things, of course, that we read about Ludwig II. Also, and you had asked me too, you said, well, what about that music from the musical? Well, we're listening to a little bit of it right now in the background, and this is from the new musical that was first performed in April of the year 1999, and I think it's going to be a very popular musical. I don't think it has gone to London yet, and it certainly hasn't come to New York.
Tell us, what are you talking about, a musical?
The musical called Ludwig II.
Okay.
And what we're hearing is just a portion of the music from it. There are waltzes, there are polkas, there are some beautiful other solos and duets that are from the musical as well. And it is based on the life of Ludwig II, who you say really had a great life. In fact, this was the view from his bedroom. Can you imagine that? Look at that, the view from his bedroom. Now, how'd you like to wake up to that every morning?
Well, I think I'd have trouble going to sleep. I'd want to sit out there and watch, you'd at least watch the moon come up or the sun go down or whatever. But Marv, is like anything else. You just take these things for granted after a while. You do, it's there.
When you're able to build and develop as much as this, I guess you probably would. Anyway, this is a statue of Neptune, and of course we see the horses here, and the other figures are also sort of, what do you call a merman? You call a mermaid for a woman, right? Would it be a merman?
Oh, I like that. Yeah, let's do that.
They've got like fish tails, So
I think they're not mermans. I think there's something else that they're called, but no. I don't.
I saw a Disney movie once, and they had a merman in it, so that's why I was wondering.
You gotta be kidding.
I don't know. I'm telling you the truth. Really.
Oh, well. That's.
And now this is another one of the gardens that's over on the side of the castle or the palace, again, whatever we want to call it. But again, you can see how well this is manicured and kept up. And of course, they keep beautiful fresh flowers growing here all the time. And more statuary hidden back in these little recesses of the hedges that you can see right here. That's beautiful. Now, Betty, they have turned on the main fountain.
Oh, they're going to have a bath.
Look at that. Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
Look at that. Oh. I saw so many. This was a real photo op for so many people. There, where I had the camera, there were so many people going click, 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 click with their little cameras taking pictures of this. But it's quite beautiful.
It
as
is.
You can see.
I sound very flippant, and I don't really mean to
well,
be
you've
flippant.
been there so many
times.
Oh,
come on.
You world traveler.
Oh, yes, of course. I don't mean to be flip, but I think it is absolutely fantastically beautiful. But I can stand there for about 10 minutes, and then I got to go off and do something else. You're going
to go have the picnic.
With the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, yeah.
Your peanut butter sandwich. Okay, well, we are going to leave. And as we walk out, we see a building that is looks like it's right out of the Middle East.
Yeah.
And again, this is back up a little bit in the woods, but it's right off the pathway as we're leaving Linderhof.
Was that for the help? Was that a...
No, I don't think so. I think
a lodge of some kind?
That was... Well, he wanted to build another castle, like a Chinese castle.
Oh, my.
At one time, but that never happened. I mean, he was either murdered or died before that. Now
he would have bankrupted the whole nation if he had.
He did go out for some loans, that's for sure.
It.
I think he sent some of his envoys to England and some other places to see about getting some more money. Here you can see now where Oberammergau is in relationship to the mountains and the the valley right here, and also if you took a look a little bit earlier, you would have seen the where we are at Linderhof, and also these ski areas too. There are a lot of them around. Now we have left, and we're on our way to Munich. But before we do that, we're going to pass a little village of Ital, and there is a beautiful monastery that you see right there, and lots of tourists ready to go through it. Well, we didn't stop this time. We have before, and again, this is magnificent inside. It's just beyond words. The gold and the statuary, it's really something. So if you get a chance to go over there, do stop at that particular place. Well, we have now arrived in Munich, and the day we got there, it decided that it was going to rain on us a little bit, but we didn't care because we were going to go to a place where we were going to have a bit of refreshment to this Hofbrau. Now, this is a very famous Hofbrau. It's one of the, as you can see, was built in, what's the date on there?
1589.
Yeah, goes way back. In fact, this has some other unsavory, what I want to say, history as well. This is where Adolf Hitler actually started too. And Betty, bringing that up for a moment, I just learned that a fellow by the name of Fedler, his name was Joseph Fedler. He was 100 years old, and he just died a few weeks ago. He was one of 94 legislators who voted on March 23, 1933, against the law ceding the Reichstag powers to Adolf Hitler's cabinet, sanctioning the Nazi totalitarian state. He got out of Germany, came back, and they put him in Dachau. And but he did survive. He did survive, and he died at the age of 100 just a few weeks ago. Well, we're inside now, and as you can see, we're ready for a little pretzel and beer,
look at
right?
Ken. Ken is really making with the music there. Good. Come on, boy. This was
wonderful.
This was one of those kind of fun stops that you make along the way, and it's everybody has a good time, and you visit, and it makes you feel like you are German. You know that you're with the people. Yeah.
Well, the waiter there was just explaining to us because we said, "Well, can we eat here?" And he said, "Well, down here you can't. You can have pretzels and beer, but if you go up one floor, then there's a dining room up on the next floor of the beer hall here." But we didn't care about that.
No,
we just
see everybody.
The beer and the pretzels.
And you know they don't have small beers when you go into these pubs. They are big beers, and so that's fine because you can stay longer and by drinking the big one instead of the little one.
And they had you saw the pretzel stand there. You can either order them or go over there and pick out your own pretzel. And some of those pretzels were big enough for a whole family, I think, It was great. I love this Papa music.
Yeah, I think it's great. I enjoyed this. I thought this was just really fun.
It's always fun to go
and lots and lots of people. I like it too, and we can join in the singing, and it's just fun. And after all, you couldn't go to Germany, you couldn't be in Munich if you didn't go to a pub.
Oh, no. And if you're there in October, of course, you want to go to the Oktoberfest, which, of course, Munich is so famous for. But it looked like the marshals here were having some fun here, drinking. Well, they're not the only ones. Everybody else are sampling the beer here. And it was good, too. I'll tell you, it was wonderful. I had a great time here. I thought this was always a great place to stop. And being that it was raining outside, it was beautiful. We have been in Munich before when we've been outside, like an outside beer hall where we've had the Wurst and the Wurst. Now,
it was better. The other one was better. This was Wurst.
I was waiting for you to come.
I know. You gave me a good line.
White Wurst on before, and the beer on the outside. Helga was the one that introduced us to that about 10 years ago.
And it was good. It was very, very good.
So I remember that, and I ordered that every time I get into a German place like this, It was just great, absolutely great. And these musicians were great too. And they would sit down and they'd have their beer, and then they'd get back up and play a few more tunes and sit down and have some more beer. And you have to tell you, this, folks, was not at 8 o'clock at night. This was in the middle of the afternoon.
Was it about 3 o'clock? Because right then after this, we went and ate something after this.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we did. We went to a place that we'll tell you about probably in the next show. A place that is inexpensive but yet very elegant to go to. And when you're in Germany, well, we'll give you that hint on the next show, not particularly on this one, okay? So something to look forward to on the next one. Anyway, let's enjoy a little bit of this Papa music.
Okay.
Betty, you were mentioning beer steins. Just take a look at this one right here. And they had a shop within the beer hall right here, naturally, because they were going to be not going to miss the tourists by any means. Look at that stein. That was a biggie.
I bought a beer stein this time. Very unusual for me to pack something like that home, but I have a son-in-law who has always wanted one. So I did buy it, and it's just really a lovely, lovely piece of.
You got it home okay?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I
Good.
treasured it. I hand carried it. I paid, I don't know, I think I paid $50 for it. And for me,
for
that's
a
a
beer
lot of
stein?
money for a beer stein, yeah.
Oh, I should
But it
say.
has a marking on the bottom to show that they only made so many of them. So it'll be a treasure for
So
him
you-
to have.
Oh, well, that's great.
He
That's
can't
wonderful.
watch this show, though, however, because it's a Christmas present. I have to tell him, this is one show you cannot watch,
You
Don.
let the cat out of the bag, as
Yeah.
it were. Anyway, we had a wonderful time here at the Hofbrau. It was a great time, and this is a place, of course, when it is raining, to get inside out of the rain, enjoy the music, have a beer and pretzel, go upstairs if you like for lunch, which we decided not to do here. We wanted to go to a different place for lunch where we had been before, but everybody seemed to enjoy this very, very much, and we are going to take one little trip here, and this is going to be a place. Well, we almost gave it away. Where we had lunch. But anyway, we're going to wander past that place, and we're going to go over to a cathedral. And this is one, you can see the spires right there. This cathedral, Betty, I had never been in this one before, because when we've been there, like in the Marienplatz, which is the big square there, the cathedral doesn't sit right on it. It's off just a little bit. Anyway, the name of the church or the cathedral is the Cathedral of Our Lady, and it's the Metropolitan Church of the Archbishopric of Munich and Friesling, and it was built in around the 15th century, you think?
Yep, I don't know. That wasn't there in there that
In there somewhere?
era. Yeah, somewhere.
Okay,
It's
well,
quite
anyway,
old.
I think they celebrated about 500 years or so.
Guess who that is?
Yeah, well, the Holy Father did visit here in one year, and when he visited Germany. And of course, every time you see that, you notice that they'll always make some sort of a special plaque or commemorative medal there for that. But anyway, it was very
It was
interesting.
a good experience.
Yeah, now this is a city hall that you see right here. And this, I'm going to tell you, okay, that's where we had lunch. And
Oh, I'm glad you told me. Thank you.
you didn't remember that? Hey, listen, about time for us to go. You've got some great trips coming up. Give
Oh,
Betty
I
a call at.
Excuse me, 488-7443.
That's it. Hey, and that is it. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.